Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the politics of finding a job in Asia, in particularly in China. Okay, just a brief introduction. The reason why I'm going about making this video is that both me and Lashanta have been trying to find a job in China, and we've been having some frustrations, some annoyances with the recruitment agents and whatnot. And we thought we'd share some of our knowledge that we've experienced over, well, years for Lashanta and months for me. All right, getting straight to it. So, what are the difference? Well, the politics. The politics is in China, you get better pay, but the recruitment agents frown upon that. When you ask for a higher salary and they know how much it is and they compare it to their own salaries, they get upset. They tell us foreign international teachers to lower our expectations. Well, it suits them if we lower our expectations because then they can link us with the school and get a commission, blah blah blah. It's in their best interest, not in our best interest. So, different countries have different pros and cons. We know that people who travel know that. Each country, there'll be things that you like about and there's things that you won't like about. China in general, in my opinion, has more cons than pros. Hence, the reason why China is one of the top payers, the highest payer in Asia.
But what about foreigners asking for high salaries? If the cost of living in China is so low, is it really fair to your Chinese coworkers if
You
you're
beat me
asking?
to it. I was going to mention that the living cost in China is quite low. It's true, like living in China, it's quite cheap, especially when you have your apartment paid for, your meals paid for or given in the canteen of the school. You usually don't need to spend much to live in China. But think of it this way, right? If you were a teacher back in the US, back in the UK, back in Australia, where I'm from, I'd be getting the same salary. So it doesn't actually make a difference salary wise. We're getting the same pay in a country like China, which is to us foreigners as they see us, or I'd like to say international teachers, it doesn't make a salary difference for us. But it's more of an inconvenience. So we're sacrificing conveniences for a more cultural benefit. And locals in China don't really see that. So China is a difficult country to live in for many reasons. That's a separate video on its own. I don't have enough time to explain all the reasons why it's so difficult. I mean, there are videos out there that describe some of the negatives and describe the positives, but to me, the negatives outweigh the positives. This is about culture, not so much about this, not calculating the salary into it.
That's more about
Just
perhaps
living, just
perhaps for
the lifestyle,
teachers,
teachers.
teachers' lifestyles, and some of the experiences you may get with politics in a
And
school.
your question about how the locals get paid less, it's true, they get paid less. They shouldn't, but they do. But in reality, they actually need to spend less. They're used to living that lifestyle. They actually spend less because they know where to shop. Just simply knowing the Chinese language, they're at such a big advantage that they can shop anywhere. They know where to go to shop, and they pay less in everything that they buy. So as international teachers, we're paying sometimes premiums of double or more for the same items, pretty much. So it already from that event of not knowing the language, we're paying premium prices for living in China. So that makes a big difference. Forget the struggle, just not knowing the language makes it cost more than for the locals. The other thing is China doesn't accept foreigners. You're either Chinese or you're not. I mean, we've even got a friend. I won't name him, but he wants to be Chinese and he looks Chinese. I'm pretty sure he knows the language. His parents are probably Chinese, but he doesn't want to give up his American citizenship to get his Chinese citizenship. And to anyone else like me and Lashanta, the Chinese government will never accept us as one of its own. So eventually, sooner or later, we have to go back to our home countries. And in our home countries, we know how expensive it is to live. If we lived on Chinese salaries, we would have nothing to take back home. And that would be quite a sad situation, to be frank. You want to be able to save money to take back home to continue living or to resume some sort of lifestyle until you can support yourself and get another job or something. You simply can't work at the same salary that the Chinese people work at. And last bit is the supply and demand part of it. Realistically, if China was an easy place to live, there would be a lot more people living there. A lot more international teachers going there to work, to teach, to experience the lifestyle. For example, Thailand. Thailand's an amazing, beautiful, such a nice place to live.
And
That
it's
there are,
easy to come here too.
it's easy to come here. It's easy to stay here. There are so many foreigners, expats here that it's really watered down the salaries in Thailand to the point where it's maybe a third, if not a quarter, of what you would get in China. So you're sacrificing convenience for salary. So that's why you should never settle for a low amount. And what I mean by low amount, depending on your qualification and experiences, I would say don't. It's difficult, but nothing less than 2,000 US.
Okay, for a person with a first degree and 2 years teaching experience,
I'd say don't accept anything less than 3,000 US
and that's in China,
in China.
where the supply is low and the demand is high.
It's just so difficult to live. In Thailand, you probably would be lucky to get 1,000 or 1,500 US. So you're getting double in China compared to half in Thailand. If I was in that situation, I might now, thinking back, live in China and get the half the salary. But my motives lie with financial reasons. If you're in it for the money, if you want to do business, if you want to earn the high salary and tolerate all that China has to put you through, by all means go to China, work your butt off, but make sure you're getting paid well for it. That's part one. Part two should be coming soon. See you guys till then.